Welcome, my dear audience and friends, to Cancer Convos with Grace B. This is your host, Grace B, coming to you from New York City, the city that never sleeps and is home to Cancer Convos with Grace B. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for your support on all my platforms. For the newbies, this show aims to demystify the cancer disease and to bring on experts and stakeholders in the cancer space to come give their valid opinions. So please ensure you go for your medical checks until there's a cure. Prevention is the cure. Now, in this episode, I have a conqueror in every sense of the word. I have a lady full of warmth and love. And despite all the health challenges she has faced over the years, she still has the widest grin on her face. All the way from India, my guest is a renowned author, a cancer overcomer and counselor, an inspirational speaker who tours the world speaking her truth and sensitizing her audience about cancer prevention and management. Believe me, we will hear so much from her in this episode as she's a bundle of wisdom nuggets and laughter, which we all love. You know that humor keeps us sane, don't you? So, without much ado, let me welcome the amazing Neerja Malik to the show. Welcome, Neerja, and thank you ever so much, my soul sister, for coming on.
My dear, I wish you and everyone watching us namaste. And you know what namaste means actually?
What
It
does it
means
mean?
it means that may the divinity in me bow down to the divinity in all of you. So that
Amen.
is what we do.
Amen. That's a fantastic prayer. Thank you so much, Neerja. So, please tell us exactly who you are, what you do, where you live. I've already told them where you live and why you do what you do.
Do we have a couple of days to cover all this
We
or
have
just a couple of
all the
hours?
time. I need my audience to hear from you, not just from me.
Well, I'm very happy, first of all, Grace, to have connected with you. But I believe very firmly that connections are preordained, predestined. There are no coincidences. We were meant to talk with each other across continents, oceans, everything. And I'm so happy to be here with you today. All right, what am I? Who am I? I'm Neerja Malik. I was born to parents who were very loving, supporting. My dad was in the Indian Navy, and so we traveled around the world. We were exposed to a lot of things. I was a tomboy. If there was a tree, I'd climb it. If there was a wall, I'd be on it. If there was some water, I'd be in it.
Mhm.
So I and my parents encouraged me in everything. I had a blast. I have to tell you that. Now, when I was little, something became very apparent to me, Grace, that people, right from the time that I was in the nursery, the teachers found that children loved me, my age children, and they looked up to me. So I used to be made the monitor of the class. And if some mother was very upset about leaving her daughter, I would tell her, Auntie, don't worry. I am there. No, I will take care of her. And I promise you, in a few days, she'll be very happy to come to school. So I guess God said, okay, here's this very happy go lucky child who people love to talk to. She's gregarious. And now let's make the most of her. So I did my graduation in social work, and then I did my B.Ed. I worked in schools as a social worker. I worked in schools as a fourth standard class teacher. And then he said, now that she's got the skills, let us give her the experience in the
Aha.
university of life. And what was the experience? Well, marriage, wonderful. Multiple miscarriages, not so good. A stillborn in the eighth month, twins who were premature by 2 months and 5 days.
Yes, we're going to go to that. We're going to go to that. We're going to go to that. I don't want you to gloss over it because I want people to actually, take in everything that you have that embodies you.
Correct.
But first of all, why we're here is your
Yes.
cancer journey. Please tell us about your cancer journey
Mhm.
as a patient and now as a conqueror.
Correct. So what happened is the children, it was wonderful to have twins after 2 months and 5 days. And then God said, now, sweetheart, apart from a stillborn, start experiencing what I want you to. And cancer twice, breast cancer twice, left breast 1998, Friday the 13th February. And right breast, November 2004. And someone told me, now this is very important, Grace. Along the way, someone told me that, listen, she came to visit me, full of gyan, full of knowledge. And I said, what do you do? She said, well, I've started a cancer support group.
Mhm,
And I just had my surgery. I actually jumped out of bed and I said, yes, that's what I'm going to do.
mhm,
And then the voice of doom said, no, you cannot till you have become a survivor. I said, what's that? She said, you have to wait for 5 years.
mhm,
Because I said, why? And she said, because if you are counseling someone and something happens to you, they will be terribly disheartened. And I tell you, at that point, I was very disheartened because my heart burst with happiness. I had a goal to look forward to. And that was kind of snatched away. Sorry, Grace, I'm a trifle dramatic.
No,
That was
that's wonderful.
snatched away from me. So I forgot about it. I said, all right. Came back to Chennai. I had my treatment in Bombay where my parents, my sister, my in-laws, my support system. So my mother, she told me very directly. She said, listen, you've been diagnosed in Chennai, you live in Chennai, but you have a husband and 7-year-old twins. Your entire support system is in Bombay. Now, Grace, support system does wonders to the person who's going through something,
Mhm,
and one revels with the correct love, affection, understanding, empathy, where people, look after you. And that is what I got. I got all of this and I got much, much more. So while we're talking, I'll just tell you that yes, support is very important. So I went to Bombay, had my treatment there. Uh, when I was diagnosed, Grace, I wept for 3 whole days because I was told that there is you have 25% chances of survival. Don't forget that we have in 3 generations 40 cases of cancer,
mhm,
and I tell you, it ranges from prostate, digestive tract, uh, uterine, ovarian, pancreatic, breast, everything, blood. Don't let me forget that. And they said, if you need treatment, you need to go to France, you need to go to America, because that's when in 98 they had started stem cell research. And
Stem
I
cell
have
research.
stem cell research,
Mhm,
and they felt that I was a correct candidate for that. And I have lots of loving cousins in America, and they all said, come, come, we'll look after you, we'll take care of you. But guess what? I wept for 3 days. I wasn't scared of death. I wasn't scared of cancer. What was I upset about? That my twins were only 7. So I wept, and then suddenly on the third day, that phrase we have, tube light, enlightenment,
yeah.
it dawned on me. Grace, it dawned on me that God did not come down to me or wag his finger from up above and say, buddy, you watch it, your days are numbered, you're going to die. It was in the voice and the words of a human being. So, guess what I did? Wiped my tears. And, you know, Baby Johnson shampoo.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lovely name. It says, no more tears.
Mm-hmm.
No more tears. I'm going to live for my twins.
Children.
That was my determined decision. So, another point that is important apart from support and loving care, TLC, tender loving care, is a goal. A patient must have a goal
Mm-hmm.
that keeps the patient going. And I dangle them, just like carrots in front of a donkey. I dangle it to all my patients. Or you have a young kid, got to see that kid into school, into college, seriously, working. Is the child married? You got to see the married. You got to be there for your grandchildren. So I've realized that if you have a goal to live towards, things just get so much more better. You can handle
Absolutely.
things. You can handle
Yes.
things. So
Absolutely.
then what do you think happened? Twice cancer. Uh, 2 years back, I had septicemia thrice. I needed 210 injections from the jugular because arms, no way any IV can get there. I had to have a port here, a port there. And all the withdrawals, Grace, and all the insertions, either for blood tests or for injections, were done through
Through your
the
neck.
way, through my feet from 2004 till 2018. When I had septicemia, the veins in my feet gave up. They said, you've been utilizing it for insertion and for withdrawal since 2004. So, hey, give us a break. We're not going to help you. So then they had to, have my jugular. It was very, very helpful indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, uh, that's me.
Oh, wow. So
Many surgeries,
what
many
what
surgeries,
what
tumors. Hmm.
what should I say? What was your before and after moments? What were the thoughts that came to you when you were first told about your diagnosis?
Ah. So, because there has been, there is a kind of it's not that I went out and became aware, because I know that there is a lot of cancer in the family. One day, on the 2nd of Feb to be precise, I felt a little twinge, just a twinge, no pain, no ache, just a twinge. And I touched my left breast, and there was a little pea pea size.
Mm.
And I said, oh, I was an aerobic, I was an obsessive, compulsive aerobicer, and very trim, dull, and I had quite a bod. So I said, okay, I've sprained myself, I've overexercised. I didn't pay attention. 10 days later, that twinge came again. Now, Grace, I want to tell you that the very basis of my life is intense belief in God, in the Almighty, in the Supreme One. Call him or her whatever you wish. They're all my friends. And I feel that had I not been alerted by those twinges, I wouldn't have known better. So the second twinge came 10 days later. And now it jolted me because from the size of a little pea, it had become quite large. So I called up the cancer hospital. I'd never been there before, but I knew it was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I insisted on going. And they said, ma'am, it's in the evening. Please come tomorrow. Come another day. No doctor available. I said, what rubbish. I'm very insistent. I went and they checked me up. And they said, well, have you had a mammogram done? I said, yeah, because see, in 95, I had to get my uterus removed because I had endometriosis. And when I went to the doctor, what do you think I told her? I said, "Oh, doc, for 2 years, I have been perpetually pregnant." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I've been having premature miscarriages because that is something I'd had earlier." And she
Mhm.
said, "Meaning what?" I said, "Well, 2 months, nothing, and then the dams burst." So obviously the ultrasound test followed, and guess what? They said, the blood, instead of coming out, is getting into your uterus, and it's really getting bulky. And if that had gone into your fallopian tubes, it would have been like poison to the rest of your body if it had leaked out from there. So you've come to us at the right time, and we will save your ovaries.
Oh, wow.
And then guess what? The ovaries were also in a bad condition. So 95, the uterus and the ovaries were removed. And 98, I was diagnosed
Mm-hmm.
with breast cancer. Then 2004, and various other issues, here a tumor, there a tumor, somewhere a tumor. But surgeries happened, and God is great.
Oh my
And
goodness, that's
I'm here to tell the tale.
we thank God for your life, really. You've been through so much, and with all that, I just love your gratitude, because it's all gratitude all over you,
It is,
giving
it is.
thanks to
But you
God
know
for
something,
yeah.
Grace? So I was telling you that I felt very disheartened
Yes.
that I was to wait for 5 years. But the same year, my uncle said, I have a friend whose relative is in your hospital. My hospital? The hospital that I was diagnosed in. And he said, he's feeling very low. So will you please go and meet him? I
Hmm.
said, no problem. I didn't think twice. I mean, 5 years, survival, nothing. When I went there, this gentleman was slumped on his bed, and his wife was crying into a dupatta. It was a Muslim family from Calcutta. And I marched in and I started talking. And God is great. Within 20 minutes, he was sitting like a Pathan. The only thing missing was the hookah and the grapes. And she had stopped crying. She was rushing around trying to get me tea, coffee. I do have the gift of the gab. I had the skills of a social worker, casework, group work, community work, teaching capacity. All that put together
Yes.
made me who I was. And guess what? Doctors noticed, nurses noticed, the administrative staff noticed, and they took my number. So from December of the same year that I was diagnosed, I started my counseling career
Oh,
voluntarily first. Then I started the Apollo Cancer Support Group, and then they employed me as a consultant counselor. And 2015, I left and I became a freelancer. I
mhm.
started having patients at home because let me tell you something about India, Grace. I know that in other places, even when my cousins have been diagnosed there, they might have gone alone for a chemo or something. Here, one patient and at least 7 or 8 relatives, the mother, father, uncle, aunt, cousin, nephew,
The
would
whole
come,
tribe.
the whole tribe. And I felt that at home, the space is large enough
Mhm.
because not only do I counsel the patient, sometimes the patient is going through whatever they're going through, but the family needs it more.
Yes.
Everyone has a facade.
Yes.
Let's pretend that nothing is the matter. But a lot of stuff happens with that facade.
Hmm.
So I counsel the patient, the relatives, everyone. And I say, there's nothing to hide. Let's be open about it. And that is how we can uplift each other. We can help each other. And should I tell you something, Grace? The amount of love and blessings I get,
Mm.
I tell you, God is great. God is
Yes. When you give out love, love returns.
Manyfold,
Many,
thousandfold,
many fold,
millionfold,
millionfold, exactly.
millionfold.
So, Neerja, what hurdles did you have to overcome during these trying periods?
Well,
How,
first of
what
all,
did you face and how did you overcome them? Because it's one thing saying, "Oh yes, I faced this, I faced that," and you're going through the motion.
correct, correct.
How did you overcome them?
Well, first of all, don't forget that I had to be a very good actress. My twins were only 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I was zipping off to Bombay, getting a surgery, coming back, and every chemo I would fly to Bombay. So
Wow.
I think the amount of fibs I said, and the kids, they pick up the phone and they talk to you. And I used to tell them all kinds of, I sat in the plane and then the bird came and the bird hit the plane and the plane had to go back. So I'm sorry, I can't come just yet, couple of more days.
You
I
couldn't
mean,
tell them the truth
not when they were 7,
at
because they
all.
didn't know what it was. And I remember
Yes.
they went to some teacher, and what they told her was, our mother has breast cancer. Because now a child of 3 or 4 knows what a breast is, knows what a penis is.
Mm-hmm.
But in those days, a 7-year-old did not, especially in India, did not comprehend the word breast, but they were familiar with the word breath. So they told their teacher, our mother has breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Grace, one more thing. I've always been a very active parent, always a class parent. So all the teachers, the principal knew me. And mind it, the kids' results went down. And what used to happen is that either my mother or my mother in law or an elderly lady would come and stay with the kids. But there was trauma, they would
Mm-hmm.
go, I would go and come.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they didn't do quite as well, and the teachers complained, and the principal told them, no, it's okay. She's getting her treatment done, and when she comes back, all will be well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very lucky that those teachers empathized with the children,
Mm-hmm.
and they were always there for my children. My son would stand on one side. My daughter was the spokesperson. And she would say, this is what happened. And Mummy's friends are coming to meet her. But they tell us maybe no one should meet Mummy because, she might catch some infection.
Mm-hmm.
So, to the best of their ability, they understood that something was not quite right.
Was not, yes.
But thankfully, that too did pass. So apart from that, the first time, Taxol, the first time when I was going through
The
my
medication.
surgery, the
Yeah.
medication, I did something very stupid. And please, this is important for you to tell people. I was diagnosed, as I said, on the Friday the 13th, 1998, February. Now, my twins' birthday is the 5th of July. So, what was the protocol? The doctor said, we will first do a surgery. Now, when I went for that checkup, he asked me, I gave him the spiel about 2nd of Feb, and then 10 days later, 12th of Feb, and this is what happened. And he asked me, fine, but when did you get this? And I said, this what? And he said, you have a larger tumor in your armpit than the one in your breast. And I was
Mm.
shocked because I didn't even know about it. So I'm so glad, Grace, that nowadays everyone is into awareness, prevention, cure. That is how it goes. Awareness, you can prevent it. And last but not the least, yes, the cure is there.
Yes. Early detection.
Early detection, early
That
detection.
is
In
it.
those days, we didn't even know what a breast self-examination was. And
Mm-hmm.
now, thankfully, everyone is open about it.
Yes.
People are going to schools, to colleges. We've got warriors from the colleges, 50 children, 50 girls per college,
Mm-hmm.
who are going to learn, how to do a self-examination and teach others.
Mm-hmm.
And I go and give lots of talks in all these places and always tell them, see, you have at home, you have aunts, mothers, grandmothers, neighbors.
Yes.
Just spread the
Word.
word.
Mm-hmm.
Just spread the word. And
So,
in any case, sorry, yes,
no, no, no,
ask
go
me.
ahead. Go ahead.
So in any case, the world is becoming so small, Grace.
Yes, it
I
is.
mean, imagine you and I are talking across oceans and so many things.
Yes.
There is a connect. And let me tell you that nowadays, that connect is not only there between families and relatives, it is getting to be very strong between the doctors and the patients and the liaison officers. When I came to America in 2008, your Department of State invited me. We were 15 people from all over the world for the first ever International Visitors Leadership Program on breast cancer in
Mm-hmm.
October of 2008. And there were people who were saying, okay, so here's the doctor, and this is the liaison officer, and that is the social worker, and this is the what? That in those days, this is the patient navigator, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember standing up in a hospital and saying, okay, but what happens after hours? Because you're just talking about 9 to 5. And they said, oh, that's 1800. And I said, you know something? I am 1800. Because I tell my patients, you feel free to call me any time of day or night.
Mm-hmm.
Because at night, when your family is asleep, you get thoughts that travel in your head like worms. And then you just get so burdened down with negativity.
Mm-hmm.
Call me up. I'll sort out your thinking. If not in next to no time, even if you take an hour or so, your next day is going to be good. Whereas if you keep thinking, mulling, troubling, tension, hassle, trauma, it is unnecessary. And the entire audience was shocked. They said, what? I said, yes, I'm 1800 also, because this is what I do. And that is why the rapport between I and my patients goes beyond all kinds of relationships. I don't know half the time what business, what they do, nothing. We've got a common enemy,
Mm.
cancer. Immediate rapport. And then when I start talking, they're like putty in my hands. Grace. It's
Yes.
God's, I'm so grateful. Sometimes patients come to me when they are absolutely resisting. They have come to me only because they've been forced, dragged. They're like this. You can make out from their body demeanor. They just don't want to have anything to do with me. And then I start talking. And from like this, it changes, changes.
Yes, it's gradual. They're going
Very
through so
gradual.
much. They're actually in self-denial. And
There you go.
fact that they see you is a reminder of how serious the matter is. But when you break it down to them,
Yes.
your approach makes everything, much more
There you
manageable and
go.
doable.
And then when I tell them that, the final, see, the ace up my sleeve is I won those moccasins. I understand what you're going through. I went through it. My parents went through it. surgery, chemo, radiation, been there, done that. And if I can do it, so can you. And the further carrot being dangled is, hey, finish your treatment
Mm-hmm.
and come and join me. And you have seen how I've managed to get you out of it. You can do this, and we will start a ripple after ripple. And I said, something, wherever you live in your community, you are the expert. And if anyone gets cancer, they know who to come to. It's you,
Mm-hmm.
buddy, because you've been there, done that. You've conquered it, you have overcome it, and you're larger than life. And
Touch
do you
wood.
know the amount of people that you will be able to uplift because of yourself? And God only gives you stuff that you can handle.
Mm-hmm.
And when He gives it to you, He also gives you the strength to carry on and to
Mm-hmm.
overcome
Absolutely.
it. So,
Yes, you're so right. So how do you look at your life differently now than previously with all this? I mean, just in one sentence.
well, it's very strange when people say, did cancer make you what you are? Is your belief in God because of that?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no. It was always there. And so it has helped. Grace, I have not one thing, I have three things to tell you. One,
Please do.
my parents are not God fearing, they're God loving. So that has, like an osmosis, it's come down to my sister and I, and God willing, gone down to my kids also. So the first thing is we don't fear God. We love the concept of God. And I tell you, if you open my wallet, you will find you will find like a million pictures. It could be Buddha, Shiva, it could be Jesus, it could be Mother Mary, the mother from Pondicherry. I mean, all of them. They're all Ganesha. We have so many gods and goddesses. They're all my friends. So I tell people, I said, just have faith in God, in your teacher or guru, in your family, most of all in yourself, your
Mhm.
friends, you can do it. So, point one, God loving. Point two, I ran to my father when I was diagnosed. I said, Papa, I'm going to fight cancer. And you know what this gentleman who got a mention in dispatches, during a war, he was given awards. He was given 10 uh, acres of agricultural land. His daughter's education was free in Maharashtra. This was his award. And this man turned to me and he said, why don't you use the word face? Why are you saying fight? This fight is
So
aggressive.
face instead of fight, right?
Yes, face cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fight it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because if you fight it, it's aggressive, it's negative, I want to do this. But
Yes.
if you face it,
Face
okay,
instead of fight.
yes, PMES, it says,
Mm.
STPA, study, diagnosis, plan of action. That's how you look at it if you face it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can overcome it. That is what my dad said. So if anywhere in the world, Grace, you hear someone say, don't fight cancer, face it. Those are the words of my dad. Because I tell every patient anywhere in the whole wide world,
Mm-hmm.
let's face it, not fight it.
Absolutely.
Then the third point is my mother whenever anything happened, she would always tell me, remember, everything happens for the best. And I would say, hey, but I've broken my wrist or I've hurt myself. You know, Grace, I have come to realize that it does happen for the best. Why? Because in my case, I was to understand that things happen. I was to assimilate it. I was to absorb it. I was to face, not fight it.
Hmm.
And then I was to pass it on. Everything happens for the best, right?
That is true. That is so true. And like I always tell when I give my talks too, you have to accept first what is happening to you. There has to
Yes,
be acceptance, not denial. The more you deny, the more difficult it will be to face it. So accept, and then the next thing will be the plan of action.
yes. Uh, here, the word acceptance. You know, I've got this very classic habit of association of ideas. You say acceptance, and I remember my book.
Right.
Because one,
We're coming to that because that is a section I want to leave specifically. You know,
okay.
that we're coming to. So that we're
Right
coming
on,
to. Yes.
right on, dear, right
Um,
on.
I wanted to ask about what you think um, you would have loved to have known at the beginning of your journey that you
Ah,
got to know about much later.
okay. So, as you can hear, as you've heard, I went through a lot.
Yes.
And uh, there were ways and means that I had a lot of pain. I went through physical, mental, emotional trauma, call it what you will. But one thing is there, that if I could have seen my life unfold before my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
see, every time something happened to me, I had to do a double think. I had to do a double think. And those things really had an impact on me because I was going through so much PMES, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. I think somewhere along the way, one realizes that whatever it is, at no point of time should you even let your, what is that word? Let your defenses down. Because if your defenses are down, and in my case, the defenses were down because I took a break. It was good for me to take a break and just be. There was so much in just being that revived me. But I think I let myself be too much. Of course, I had things like I've got broken ribs because of the radiation. I fell, and now the latest thing is that the bone that broke originally is like this, and there's a little piece that is independently floating around at will and manages to give me excruciating pain sometimes.
Oh dear.
So if I had that inkling that, listen, baby, I'm 66, Grace, and I'm really taking care of myself in the sense that I haven't gone out other than for a CT scan or to talk to the doctor. I haven't even visited my terrace.
Mm-hmm.
I would have just kept account of the kgs, the calories.
Especially with
Because
with COVID happening now.
absolutely. And when people say, "Oh, I've got a sweet tooth," I said, "Sweetie pie, you got a sweet tooth. All of mine are sweet." No, so seriously, because I'm the type who did aerobics through my difficult pregnancy. I'm the type who did it through my radiations, through my chemotherapy. I was really up there. But I think sometimes what happens is, or maybe I just got, let's say, an overdose of onslaught, 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 da, do, dee, da.
Mhm,
So my defenses were lowered. I think I that is just the one. And mind you, it's not such a big deal.
mhm.
And in fact, nowadays, thanks to COVID, uh, I am, Fitbit. I am trying a wee bit, and I am curbing my sweet tea. And the basic thing is that I find that I am busier now than I was before, and not only nationally, internationally, thanks to you, my dear.
Oh
So
boy. Thanks to so many.
so here we are talking, but there are three mantras that I remember and I live by. One, God is great. Two, this too shall pass. And the third is, which you and I believe in so furiously, laughter is
Yeah,
the best medicine.
it
So if
absolutely is.
someone has these things in their pocket, up their sleeve, in their heart, they can go ahead and overcome anything. Here's my
So
guide.
true. So true. So true. So, if there was one thing you could improve as regards healthcare in India, what do you think that would be?
I'm
I
going to,
know India is doing very well, medical
yes,
tourism and all
yes,
that. It's
hos-
like the mecca of,
yes, yes, yes,
healthcare.
yes, yes,
But what do you think? I mean, it can't be all perfect. Nowhere is perfect. Where do you
correct.
think there are lapses?
Okay, let me tell you one thing. I can speak on cancer. I can speak on something that I is my forte,
Mm-hmm.
and I am involved with quite a few groups. And one of them started by being called Chennai Turns Pink.
Okay.
But gradually they did such a fantastic job that now it was Chennai turns pink, Coimbatore turns pink, Mumbai turns pink, Goa turns pink. You name the cities they've been there. And now it is called India Turns Pink. Now, I was telling you about those talks of going into colleges and all that. So remember that India is vastly rural also.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of schools and colleges, government colleges in the rural areas. So I give full credit to the NGOs in India because they are going down to the grassroots,
Yes.
the brass tacks. And now you will find that a lot of people in this sphere, in this field, have actually invested in mobile vans which have mammogram machines, which have pap smears, and they are going from village to village to get it all done. Now, initially, we didn't have much of this. So when you say, what can you improve? I'm saying that Grace, we are well on the way, but we need funds and we need people to absolutely come together. And I was telling you that they're warriors, 50 warriors are chosen from each school or college. So they've not only covered the urban areas, they've covered the rural areas also.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very proud of it. Whether it's
Yes.
breast cancer, uterine cancer, blood cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And now these talks are happening in schools. People are becoming aware at a younger age. Earlier, cancer was taboo.
Mm-hmm.
The word was a stigma. Oh, don't tell anyone you've got cancer. No one will get you, no one will marry your daughter. But now, with awareness, things are changing.
Yes.
And the first thing I can say is, hey, look at me. Look at me.
Yes.
Larger than life.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can do it,
Mm-hmm.
so can you.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So, now we come to that point. I inspire. Tell us
Wonderful.
about your book, I Inspire.
Actually, so what triggered it off was that word you used, acceptance. So basically, my book is called The Story of Neerja Malik. It's a treasure trove, and I have found 10 treasures in life. The first is love, the second is fun and laughter, the third is God, the fourth is faith. And if you have faith, the fifth is miracles. Grace, there's so many miracles happening in my life, in your life, in all our lives. We just need to be open and receptive to it. And everything will come our way in abundance.
Yes.
Let me tell you, Grace, that death is also a treasure. Because what does death teach you? It teaches you your word, it teaches you acceptance. And when you start accepting things, then you realize that whatever we have, we need to be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
When we are grateful, we are showered in abundance. And when that happens, it helps us to live in the now. So these are the 10 treasures in my book, I Inspire.
Yeah.
I have no qualms about saying that I inspire because God is great.
All the time. He is. He is. And this book can be found on Amazon, right?
Yes, it can be found on.
Okay. That will be in, when I'm putting out the show, it will be in my show notes.
And can I just give you a little hint to what I've been up to in the pandemic?
Yes, please go ahead. Please do.
Nine chapters of my new book are done.
Okay,
I
that's
started writing
awesome.
another book,
Mm-hmm.
and God is great. The
That is
way
awesome.
things just unfold.
Yes,
We just have to be open and receive. And
yes,
once we receive,
absolutely.
you
And
know,
COVID has brought out a lot of creativity in all of us,
there you go. I mean, I didn't know how to work a computer. All right. There was no need to. I was going from place to place. I was being flown to different cities to talk.
That's it.
And now, guess what? Here we are, digital. Uh, where did we?
Virtual. Look at the last
Virtual.
conference, the last conference in Bangalore that we did.
Yes, the
Thousands and
West,
thousands of people.
the Women Economic Forum, and well, it was over 2 days, and we
Yes,
had 480 odd speakers the world over, 7 rooms, which is why
yes,
you and I never met then because we were so busy
yes,
talking in our own different spaces.
yes.
I guess always some there's always some silver lining to
Mm.
every cloud, right?
True. There is always, once at least, even if you're in the tunnel and you can see the light, there's hope.
There you go. There you go.
Yes. So, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self? Now you say you're 66, you
Hmm.
don't look it,
Yes,
but
I'm
okay.
Who says I'm 6?
Eggs.
I'm 60. You know, when I turned 60, someone came up to me and said, "Now you're sweet 16." I said,
Mm-hmm.
"What rubbish." They said, "Why?" I said, "You know, just drop the zero. I'm 6." So
Exactly.
now someone said, "You're 66." I said, "No, drop the 6. I'm still 6."
Yeah.
I
How
would
time
just,
flies.
Grace, there is so many examples that I want to give you. So many things. But what comes uppermost to my mind, because when I'm talking to patients, I get so many ideas. I would like to share one with you.
Okay.
Uh, it would fit in. See, this patient came to me and she was sitting across my table and crying. Now, if you looked at her, she'd look as if she's just stepped out of the Vogue magazine. Hair perfectly done, nails done, very well turned out. She always wore culottes or pants or a long skirt because she had an artificial limb, an artificial leg. Now she was sitting across from me and she said, "You know, when I get pain here, I think cancer's come back. When I get pain here, when I get pain here." And she was crying. And I wanted to stop it. I had to jolt her out of it. So I just turned to her and I said, "You know, I am so glad you've come today. Had you come tomorrow, I wouldn't have been there." And she said, "Why not?" And I said, "Well, a couple of days back, I went for a movie. And when you go for a movie, you have to have cold coffee and popcorn. And when you eat popcorn, it drops." And it did. And I was brushing it aside. And I felt a lump. Can you see this? Pregnant pause. She stopped in her tracks. And then she started crying inconsolably. So I said, "What happened?" And she said, "How unfair." I said, What's unfair?" And she obviously had done her homework on me, so she proceeded to tell me about broken bones and miscarriages, a stillborn in the 8th month, premature twins, uterus and everything, blah, blah, blah. This surgery, they found one tumor in your leg, they took it out, they found another underneath, they couldn't put it. She had it all. And I said, "You're crying for me?" She said, "Yes, how unfair." And I made her understand something. I said, "See, there are only two things that I'm certain about. One, and I had a very large table, so I stretched and my left hand touched the left corner, the point. One, that I'm born, and the other, that I'm going to die." And I said, "In between, I have gone through so much." Now, every time something happened to me, and I thought, this is the be all and end all of life.
Mm-hmm.
How would I go through life? In Hindi, we have a lovely phrase. It says, "Mar mar ke jeena," which means dying, dying, living. I said, "Don't want to die, die, live. I want to live, live, live." So I just told her one thing. I said, "You know something? If I cross the road and a lorry hit me, I wouldn't even know if I'm dead. So why would I worry about what would happen to me?" Because every time something happened and I thought it was the end,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a bend. So I would tell my 16-year-old that, remember one thing, there are only two things. that are the ultimate truth. One, that you're born. The other, that you're definitely going to die.
Mhm.
And if things happen along the way, don't think that it's the be all and end all of existence. Think that it's a little detour, a bypass. It's going to take you right back to where you were planning to go, your goal. Maybe with a little twist and turn, but you'll get there.
It's a journey, right?
It's a journey. And
Yes.
remember,
And there's so many
God,
bends.
He's there to take care of you, right? I love what you've written. Grace is sufficient.
Mhm.
Grace, that is so beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
applaud you for that lovely thought.
Thank you so
It
much.
moves me. It really
Thank
moves
you so
me.
much. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Only by His grace. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, Neerja, that has been so wonderful. So, I know you have to get to bed very soon. It's midnight your time now, or what time is it?
Listen, sweetheart, don't tempt me because I can keep talking. I haven't even given you 2% of the examples that I want to share with you. I think you better have me come again.
You have to come again, definitely. You must come
There's
again.
too much.
Yes,
I have to tell you,
yes,
I have to
yes.
share so much with you. I
You have
love
to
it when
come.
you said soul sister.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed. Yes,
What,
indeed.
what did they say? Sister from another mother. Of course, it sounds
Yes.
better. Brother from another mother. That
Sister
kind of
from another
rhymes.
mother. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Neerja. So, um, before we go, in a sentence, what
Yes.
advice would you wish to leave that cancer patient, survivor, or even the caregiver? Because the caregiver, as you had rightly mentioned, goes through a lot of stuff, scared about, his or her loved one. What advice would you like to give?
Yes. I would just say one thing. This is how I live my life. When you are going through something, you get burdened by it.
Mhm.
So I have a deal with the one above. I said, hey, listen, you gave me these problems. Now you're going to give me the solutions. I'm free. That's why I can talk to Grace over the continents. And I need to tell the caregiver that, listen, be a little kind to yourself. Because if you empathize with yourself and find the strength and the support from yourself and from God, then you can do anything for the patient. And I'm talking like this, Grace, because I have been first a caregiver to my grandmother when she was going through digestive tract.
Okay.
And then I became a cancer conqueror twice over myself. Then I became a counselor.
Mhm.
And then in 2012, my father passed away also from cancer. My aunts and I have been a great amount of strength and support for them, which, let me tell you, would not have been possible. So, what do I do? And this is important. I always think of myself as I would advise the caregiver that you consider that you are this pen. There is a circle that you make in front of you. You put the pen right in the center of the circle. Now, that pen within the circle is Neerja. I am Neerja, but when I'm thinking of the problems I have, the caring I have to do, the sharing I have to do, the loving I have to do, everything, it's an entire organization. Then I separate myself from myself. This is Neerja. And I look at Neerja and her troubles and her caregiving and her loving and sharing and caring as something that is away, removed from me,
Mm-hmm.
as objectively as I can. Do you understand? You have to separate yourself
You have to.
and look at something
From the
objectively
outside, from the
from
outside.
the
You're stepping
outside.
out of the box to look
Exactly.
inside. Yes.
Exactly. And when you do that, this is part of our great philosophy. When you do that and look at everything as a witness,
Mm-hmm.
you can overcome. You can do things. You can control situations better.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell them, separate yourself from your problems. And if you don't want to meditate, that's fine. Go for a run. Take in the
Yes.
fresh air. I love to sit in my balcony. I can't go out, but I talk to the squirrels, the leaves. I take pictures of my doggy.
Yes.
They have stopped people from walking on the road. So the other day, I found a lovely scene where a huge cow was walking in the center of the road with a little calf right behind her. And she was walking in such a regal fashion. And the calf was following her so lovingly.
Mm-hmm.
She looked back to see, oh my, anything that happens, Grace, enjoy each moment
The little moments.
passionately,
The little moments.
passionately.
Yes.
And those little moments link up and become an entire garland with which you can feel
Absolutely.
so joyous.
So true. So true, Neerja. This is wonderful. So, how may my viewers, the audience,
Yes,
reach out to you? Your social media handles, please.
yes. I have three Facebook pages,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on Instagram also.
Yes.
And I've just started a LinkedIn thing also.
Okay.
So they're most welcome to get in touch with me. And you can share my
I will. Your details will
email.
be on
Yes,
my,
yes,
page as well. When this video
please,
comes out, it's going
please,
to be, yes.
please,
But before it's put out, of course, my it will be on social media that I have you coming on. So these details will be put in my
please,
posts.
please
Absolutely.
feel free. Feel free because I
Oh,
tell
I'm
my people
always
here
free with
also.
you. I'm always free with you. I feel as if I've actually physically met you. We have a
Lots of
strong
love.
bond. Thank you
Lots of
so
love,
much.
darling. Lots of love.
Neerja, it's been such an honor to host you and to actually grasp. I mean, we can't actually take in the totality of you because it's so short a time. But believe you, I'm going to invite you back to the show and we're going to talk about other things because you're just such a wealth of information and knowledge,
I would
and
absolutely
can't
love that.
can't wait to see you. Maybe you come to New
Absolutely.
York or I come to India, who knows, but very soon.
We'll do that.
Okay, darling.
We will
Thank
do
you
that.
so
Thank
much.
you so much for having me over. And
Thank you so
I've
much.
really
Let me
loved it.
just round up and then I'll
Yes?
come back to you to give
Yes.
you more
Please.
hugs.
Please.
So, my dear audience and friends, there you have it. I've been talking with the amazing Neerja Malik about her life, her experiences, gratitude, and how she keeps going in the face of all, her troubles. So, welcome once again to this show. Don't forget to subscribe to us to be able to be told about upcoming episodes. Um, you know what we do here. We tell it like it is. All right. So take good care and wishing you, my audience, love, peace, and light. Ciao, ciao.
Thank
Thank you
you
so
so
much,
much.
Neerja.
Thank
God
you. God
bless
bless.
you. and love
God bless.
you to your
Thank you.
family. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.